series for musicians, where we take your songs, your studio, your stage, and your media presence and turn it up.
How is everybody today?
Good. How are you?
Good. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday,
Happy
people.
Monday.
Yep, all good. All good here. It's music, and then the other day there was some music. So I would say primarily music. How about you guys?
Oscars, teaching Oscars, music.
I would say videos, filming videos, editing videos, more videos, and more editing videos.
Okay.
Right. It does seem like we're doing what we're supposed to be doing on planet Earth. So big round of applause, everyone.
You know how they do it when you hold the microphone? Let me do that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I watched the Oscars. Can I start?
Dive in, Anika. Dive in.
I was really, first of all, I went to a bunch of gifting suites and I got a bunch of free shit, which was really awesome.
Well, what'd you get?
Thanks to my friends. Lots of facial things and some food and a bunch of things. It was really, really fun. I went to some homes, some private homes. I went to some events with stores that had open doors. Here is the big news. Cool thing. There were 5 songs nominated. There were only 2 that were highlighted, which kind of upset me a little bit. I'm like, why can't they have Oscar songs that are nominated on the show? They only had a few of them. And the number one that won was K-pop. The song Golden in the film Demon Hunters went number 1 on Billboard. It streamed 3 billion times. 3 billion streams, you guys. That's across all platforms. 3 billion streams. I think in my days, that's almost $3 billion. There are 5 writers on that song. One of the songwriters was making his acceptance speech. He was the second one to speak, Yuhan Lee, and they cut him off. He said, I want to thank, boom, they cut him off. They turned the lights off. The microphone went down. Conan O'Brien is like, what are you doing? This is this man's moment. This is a number 1 song on Billboard. Let me repeat, 3 billion global streams, and they cut him off. And it's a whole thing going on right now. It really kind of upset me because in my opinion, I think film without music is nothing. You know, the two of them, the narrative that songs and music have on film is so important. And it's often overlooked. When I see credits on movies, I get really frustrated because the songs are the very, very end. I mean, they'll talk about the dog trainer, the writer tray. They'll talk about the assistant makeup person before they'll even get to the music and the songs in the film. So how do you feel about that? Isn't that crazy?
I mean, you know, the Oscars has always been strange in so many ways because it's a celebration of each other. What's so weird about it is that the people who attend it are the people who win and the people who lose and the people who are just kind of involved in some way. And it just feels a very self-congratulatory kind of experience overall. So a little ironic then that they went there to celebrate their own achievements and then turn the guy's mic off or whatever. Like that's even more peculiar. Suffice it to say, the writers of the show and the creators of the show and the writers of the music have really enjoyed a real moment in the sun.
Yes.
Whether you turn their mic off or not, you can't take that away from them. They've had an enormous hit, and they've also, I think, shone a light back on the importance of original music and how it can be original and different. Demon Hunters is such an interesting show on so many levels, and it really bolsters like everyone's desire to write, to create, and all these kinds of things. It's great overall. It's a shame that happened, but ultimately it's a win.
Well, I'll say one of the positives. I think it was great that it won. My 6-year-old niece doesn't stop singing Golden. I mean, she knows every word, and they're all doing dances to it. It was the first K-pop song to go number 1. So that's kind of cool. And the performance of it was amazing. But I'm like, people, we have to hear all the songs. You know, the Grammys, we play all the songs. I know it's a music show, but I was really hoping the Oscars would have played all the songs. My friend Diane Warren's song did not get performed live. So, you know, those are moments. Those are moments. Even though it's an award show, to highlight music is super important. I don't want us to become wallpaper. I'm an advocate for supporting it 100%. Besides that, the show was fantastic. Fantastic.
I would say that also with music, I think K-pop Demon Hunters really shows you how music in the future is going to be a bundle. It's like bundled with a movie. It's going to be bundled with other things, and music alone is, I think, it's going to be a harder thing to make money off of, build a career off of. Like, you have to bundle it with other things. Yeah. That's just my opinion.
Absolutely,
right.
100%.
Well, you're exactly right. So music as a standalone product is what you're saying. It doesn't really have any intrinsic value, or not nearly close to the intrinsic value that it once did when we had CDs and vinyl and hardware things to sell. And if that's the point you're making, I think you're exactly right.
Yeah.
Now everything is a lost leader into the world of promotion, platform, membership, subscription, sync, et cetera, like merch, tours, tickets. That's where it's at, right?
100%. Even the Sinners soundtrack, same thing. There were 3 singles on that. So it is definitely bundled. Although, don't forget, there were wonderful soundtracks for films. Star is Born, even before this was John Hughes did a bunch of films in the late 80s, early 90s. And all of those songs in those movies became #1 hit songs. And they were very trended and very cultural moments. When I hear them, I remember so vividly that time in my life. So yeah, I think it's always been bundled, but now more than ever, as it stands alone, like you said, Andrew, 100%. Unless you sell vinyls. Some people are going back to vinyls.
Yes. All right, let's move on to some news. Anika, what you got?
I just told you.
Wait a minute. I thought you were just chatting. Could you hold up the...
my stats. I'm talking about
You could just hold up the news flag anytime it's news. No. It was interesting.
It was
interesting, I promise.
It wasn't like I had chips and guacamole this morning. I'm talking about the Oscars. 3 billion streams. It was a big, huge whoop-ah.
So I got one for you guys. So this week is an important week in AI and music because the Supreme Court ruled in Thaler versus Perlmutter. I think I'm pronouncing that right, because a computer scientist AI system created artwork he wanted to copyright, and they said no. And now the ruling stands, and I really hope it will be settled case law, and it will be precedent that works without a human author. Let me say that again, because it's huge. This is game changing. Folks, it doesn't even matter if it's not because of our PROs and our distributing of royalties and so on. If we're not doing it, well, it doesn't matter much. Anyway, what does it mean? It means that all the stuff that you're creating, all your worst fears about Suno and Udio and all the AI generators are just a bit less scary. Sleep a bit better. That means keep doing what you're doing. Do not fall backwards in the face of this AI invasion. You're safe for now. This was a 9-0 unanimous ruling. Very interestingly, we haven't had one of those in a while. So it's really interesting that they feel that this is straightforward. I wonder also where it will take us into the world of LLMs like OpenAI and Anthropic, because they are operating under a fair use system at the moment, and this dreadfully undermines that argument, right? So we'll see where that goes. But for us in the music world, this means that without having to sue everyone left and right, even though there have been some important cases, we're still now automatically protected. This is great big news.
That's wonderful. So I have one other quick question. When it comes to music, so you're saying when it comes to music, if we're uploading, like we spoke about last week, a song we've already written, but it's an older recording, and we upload it to Suno, and we have the original copyright, but it is artificially sung by another person. Do we still own that copyright? Is that still usable?
Yes, you do. So if there's been a human provably involved in the process, the human owns the copyright. Okay. It's like anything else, Anika. If you have someone sing your song, it doesn't affect the copyright. The writing is the writing. That's the core composition. Doesn't matter who sings it. Now, you might give up some of that composition. If you want to have somebody very famous sing your song, you might choose to give up some of that copyright.
I've done that.
Well, as we all have. And so that's a slightly different conversation, but you don't have to. And the AI involvement doesn't mean that you have to. What's, I think, a little bit more weird and interesting is that what they ruled is that it effectively means that anything that is generated wholly by Suno, Udio, or any fully autonomous AI is currently uncopyrightable, and therefore it goes straight into the public domain. I will let Anika explain what that means.
Okay. Well, the copyright is owned by the original writer and composer for 70 years past your death. And I think what's happening now, they're saying, is public domain means anyone can use it at any time, anywhere, without having to worry about paying royalties. So that's wonderful. So we don't have to be so fearful. And you were talking last time, Yulia, about the low-hanging fruit of sort of the bedding music, the stuff that we want to find in music libraries. This might actually, I don't know if this will hurt or help somebody who's writing library music, instrumental music, because if it's public domain and they don't have to pay royalties and it's non-copyrightable, that means it might be more interesting.
The ramifications are, I think, as follows. So if you want to pump out 1 million library tracks and create a huge library that you then sell to an elevator company who put them in all their elevators, you will have no royalties. And of course, we musicians are always thinking about royalties. So you might still get a fee. So the front end doesn't get affected, right? You want it, to your point, a buyout is no longer a buyout because there's nothing to buy. You're just buying some music and you're now kind of a weird middleman. Sure, you can do that. But the greater implication is that you will now have back end on anything you create from these platforms with your original composition, and you will not if it's just the platform.
I get it. I understand that. Let me translate that. If you write something on Suno that is not originally yours and you want to send it out to be licensed or put somewhere, what about the master? Do you own the master? We didn't cover that.
If you have a pro account, and only if you have a pro account, and you maintain that pro account without a lapse, you own the music coming out of it.
So that's important to know. That's a very important thing to know for people who do a lot of sync licensing. That means that even though it is public domain, that you do own the actual original recording or a master recording that you can license to various companies. If you want to put them in commercials or you want to have them as a background music for even YouTube channels or any kind of vertical films that they're doing now, that's available for you to license. Well, Apple Music, we spoke about it in our last podcast, is now having a way of tracking what is artificial AI music, artificially driven music or not. So
exactly the same.
Even though they're doing a deal with TikTok, and even though you can stream your music through TikTok, if it is AI based, it will be identified as AI based. And the one other thing I was going to say, a friend of mine, Michael Ames, who owns Penn Music Group, one of the biggest independent music publishing companies, was mentioning that if the song has an AI singer on it, regardless of whether or not you wrote it, they will not use it. That is where they draw the line.
That's
now, this might change, but at the moment, for people that are listening that are songwriters only, it's not a bad idea to thousands of singers are looking and excited to sing. So think about that before you try to send it out.
Yeah, I got a real world one of those, like here's the scenario. It literally just happened last week. Working with a writer, we've written, 20 songs or something. And she says, look, I met this guy. He's super influential in with all these people at the majors. Wants to try and get the songs away for a sync of some sort, or wants to get them to an artist, or all the things. She herself is not the world's best singer. It's just not her main thing. She's a great writer, but she's not a great singer. So we demoed them with AI, partly because it was hard to find a certain person with the different voices that required. One's country, one's pop, one's grunge, whatever it is. And so we were like, this is cool. And he said, if there's any AI vocals, I simply won't listen. Mm-hmm. Now, oddly, as a producer with my producer hat on, I'm like, well, why not? The song is the song. Who cares?
It's a demo, right?
It's a demo. Who cares? But to your point, Anika, this was a line in the sand for him. And he said, I can't continue making introductions and opening doors if it's an AI vocal. And I thought, why? There you are. That's the reality on the ground.
Well, maybe they want the human element behind it to give it to an artist. Maybe it turns the artist off to hear it in an AI version. Because it's also, the other thing is that they're very often, the vocals in AI, fantastic singers. I mean, sometimes it drives me crazy because I'm like, I hate you. It's perfect. You can hear there's a lack of breath. There's certain things about it that it starts to, they all similarly sound the same.
Yeah, and here's part of the point Anika might be making, that if you're trying to sell a song to an artist, for example, and you present them with a vocal that they could never match or never be better than, because actually I did one and I tell you, if it didn't sound like the best pop country vocal I've ever heard, I don't know what it sounded like. I played it to Anika. It made her cry in real time. She just sort of put her head in her hands and she was like, what do we do now?
What do we do?
What do we do? Well, actually, that song will now get re-recorded with handpicked artists that my friend found me. And that's where we're at. That's actually where this took us all the way around the houses to there. So it's quite interesting. So singers, sing again.
Well, here's another thing. Start practicing, because you have a high bar. It's the Olympics of singing now to try to outbeat what we're hearing now.
That's a whole nother thing, how to compete vocally at that level. Definitely things that we talk about all the time, skills that we look to hone every single day. workshops at home, private students, the whole thing, because that information, that learning gets passed on in person by hand. It's not something you can learn online. It's not something you can read a book about.
True. That's true.
And then also I would say that that's what I tell like our Grammy students when they ask questions about how can AI, like AI is coming, I'm scared. And I'm like, you are in the perfect place because you could prove every single time that when you recorded the song, when you produced it, how did, like when you wrote it, you can document that process. AI can't document the process of coming up with the song.
That's
so
true.
This is where content comes in, where people are like, I don't know what to make content about. Here's the perfect thing. Document the process of the song, and you have more than AI or people who are making AI only artists. Like you could beat them there. And so I just feel like there's so much content you could make and you can beat AI. It's not about beating AI. It's about using AI as a tool to help you, don't be scared is what I'm saying. It's going to be okay.
It's almost as if social media is watermarking your work.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. You mean like timestamping it in a way?
Yeah, timestamping
It's
it.
copyright control.
It'd be watermarked on video, but it would be timestamped in Pro Tools or Logic or Ableton, whatever you're using in your DAW system. So yeah, in some ways, the more digital we are, we have that digital thumbprint wherever we go.
100%. And so many artists have artist brain. They sit down to do writing and music and they're just thinking about the music. They just can't quite get their brains to go. Well, and all you need to do, guys, ask a friend or buy a little iPhone stand and turn it on. That will do, because once you've started capturing, you can figure the rest out afterwards. But again, it's like I mentioned last time, this feeling of perfectionism gets in the way of so much. If you're in the business of writing lyrics, chords, melodies and things, you're thinking the best, the best, the best. You're honing. And it's so hard to get your head into, I just need to turn this on and I'll figure the rest out afterwards. It's just very antithetical. It's just not the way artists often think. But thanks for that reminder, Yulia. People really do need to just turn it on and figure it out afterwards. It's gold. There's always gold.
And you know what else, Andrew, which is also really important when we talk about the writing process, and I don't know if this occurs also in just doing social media, running that phone and recording it not only timestamps it and gives you proof that you're writing the song, but very often I find the more and more you write, you think the song is getting better. Sometimes you go back to the original version, and that's the one you like the most. So we want to be able to capture everything we have, because it's sort of like the first take that you do in the recording studio when you don't realize the recording light is on. Those are often the best when you're the most relaxed.
So
I don't
true.
know. I don't know if that, Yulia, does that happen with social
for sure.
media?
Yeah, I would say that the more, not imperfect, but like the first iterations sometimes are the best. And then also you need a narrator to narrate that. So let's say like your first iteration is great and your second one is just like not that great. So take us through that journey. You're basically an author. You're sharing, you're like a narrator of your life, and maybe in the video you say something like, I listened to the second take and I just like the first one better. Let's listen to it again. Right. And then now you're the narrator of your life. And I think that's what a lot of artists miss, or they'll just put up clips and it's just a 10-second or 15 or 30-second clip, but there is nothing that stitches the stories together. And this is where the storytelling comes in, where artists need to basically become the narrator of their own lives. And I think that's what a lot of artists miss, is like, yeah, you could put clips out there, but somebody needs to tie all these clips together. And that's you.
You do have to do it all. That's the reality. And the quicker you kind of just learn those skills and learn those tools, the better you get. So make sure you have someone like, I don't know, Yulia in your life to take you from clueless to successful. That's always important. Yulia, do you have anything specific you want to hit us with in the news world?
I have a few things. So there's Instagram rewrites the rules again, meaning that Instagram. So this is what I tell my students all the time. When you're making content, make TikTok your focus. Like, even if you don't post on TikTok, make a video optimized for TikTok, because the other platforms are trying to catch up to TikTok. So Instagram CEO, he's been making videos, right? Like, he's been making content and telling artists and creatives and creators how to make videos. And so one of the things that he mentioned is that, for example, he said that AI generated content is flooding the platform and more organic, human-made content does better, which is what we've been talking about today. Also, there's also that last time I talked about this, or followers don't matter. Doesn't matter how many followers you have. You can have 100,000 followers, 10,000 followers. It's about the quality of your video count. So that's really important. And then the other part is trial reels. Trial reels are really great because TikTok came and disrupted Instagram's whole business model. In the past, if you wanted to access non-followers, meaning people that do not follow you, you had to pay Meta. But TikTok said, no, you don't have to do that. You can just come over here to our platform, post on our platform, and we'll give you access to all of our platform. It's all about your effort. If your videos are good, we'll push your video out. And so Instagram had to change their whole business model. And how do you compete against TikTok? You start trial reels. So trial reels is basically that. It's Instagram giving you free engagement, free views. You just post your video on trial reels first for the first 24 hours. See if it works. Maybe you can get, like, I've seen some of my videos. One of them got like 20,000 views on a video. Some of them get 200 views. It does, you're a scientist. You're a content scientist, basically. So make sure that you're doing that. You're just testing it out. But trial reels is a really great feature that I think most creators have on their platform. Some people don't. If you have a business account, it's not going to work. So you might have to change your account to a creator account. That's what I tell everyone. Change your account on Instagram to creator account. So when you do that, you can access trial reels, and then that helps you access non-followers, which is really, really important.
I have a question for you because I'm curious. Is it better to be, I wouldn't say better. What is the difference as far as listeners with music on TikTok versus Instagram? I know they're both different social media platforms. So is one more advantageous over the other? Is the audience different?
So TikTok it leans younger, like it's a younger generation. So it's like not alpha. Alphas are not supposed to be on TikTok, but it's Gen Z, millennial. It's everyone, but it leans more Gen Z. The way the platform was built was very much for music discoverability. So before TikTok was TikTok, it was called Musical.ly, and it was basically kids making music videos. So it was about music. And then ByteDance bought it out because it was an American company. And then ByteDance out of China bought out Musical.ly and then added their For You algorithm into TikTok, basically. And that's what shifted all of social media. That's what changed it. And so that's why it's not social media anymore. It's basically like For You algorithm media. That's basically what it should be called.
Could you explain that for you?
Yeah. So For You means that the content is specialized for you. You don't have to follow people. You don't have to go and look for people to watch their content. It comes to you. It's like for you. It's an interest-based graph versus a follower graph. You don't have to worry about followers. So that's why I watch a lot of content, and I've seen a lot of creators that I love, and I do not follow any of them. I follow no one. I don't care to follow people because I'm going to get the content regardless.
Same. These days, I just like stuff that I like, and I find that my feed is curated appropriately. And I like to say that, this is my feed. There are many feeds. There's no feed like my feed, and I have such a fun time because it really is like perfectly curated. And some people complain about their feeds. They're like, oh, I keep getting served this. And I'm like, I always want to say like, what have you been liking? Because the reality is they're pretty good at it these days. Like if they know I like stand-up comedy, because what I really like to do is go out and watch stand-up comedy because it's just fun to me. I know a lot of people like to go out and hear a lot of music, but I'm lucky enough to get to do a lot of music. So oftentimes when I go out, I want to go hear comedy because it brightens my soul. And so I get fed a lot of really up-and-coming comedians, which I just love, and all the rest of the stuff. So, I think your point's well made. It's just like, it's not about the follow. Now, of course, Yulia, I think it would be fair to say if you are an artist creating content and you're looking to move needles, then the follows do matter.
Yeah, definitely. I would say your followers do matter, especially on TikTok for the first 10,000 followers. So if you have that 10,000 followers and you want to get paid for your content, shoot for 10,000. That's when you get into the TikTok creator program. And that's when you can start getting paid per view. But your videos have to be longer than a minute. So I would say just practice, just make videos over a minute, practice that process so that when you get to the 10,000 followers in the creator program, you're already ready. You already know how to make content. That's when it matters. After that, it really doesn't. You probably are going to get more views than you are going to get followers in that time. So it's really important to focus on content series, like what kind of videos you're making. Like I tell my students, it's important to create a content series. Think of yourself as a television show. If you were MTV, and this is what I told Anika's class when I went to talk to them, I told them, go back in time. Go watch old MTV. Go look at all the shows that they had on MTV, and you can get ideas from there and then start making content about that. So for example, I remember when I was a kid, I would watch like, I think on MTV, what was it? It was like Making the Band, or it was shows about making the music video, behind the music. Those shows helped build the artist persona. And that's one of the reasons why people love the artist too. And so make content like that, not just make music content. Talk about, behind the music or behind the music video, right? There's so much content you can make. So if you watch old MTV, there's so much programming you can find where you can help you build content series that you can basically take from that era, just apply it to today's short form video algorithms, and you can make a lot of great content. That's like the secret that I teach our students.
Oh my God, that's great. I think they should also talk about the clothing, the big shoulder pads and the big spiked hair. Those videos were so fun. My favorite was the Aha video. Do you guys remember that one? Take on Me was the first time.
How can you forget?
Oh my God, Yulia, you have to check it out. It's the first time they actually did animation, and they probably did it literally scene by scene, drawing it out, where he crawls through and lives in this cartoon world. It was brilliant. Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
It's quite ahead of its time.
It was very ahead of its time.
All right, Anika, so I think you have an artist for us today. Would you like to tell us who is it and why you chose her?
Yes, the artist is Noa Bar, and she is a singer, songwriter, and producer and multi-instrumentalist, and has been featuring herself doing a lot of looping live on Instagram. So when we talked about actually timestamping or watermarking your work, she's literally doing it as we watch her put her songs together and put them online here on Instagram. And I want you guys to get a chance to listen to this. She's really cool.
With the taste of your lips, I'm on the you're toxic, I'm slipping on that with the taste of a poison paradise. I'm addicted to you. Don't you know that I'm toxic?
Point two. I mean, she's got huge following as far as liking her work. And every single time you see her do something different, she plays guitar, she plays keyboard. She actually did one in the kitchen where she created a loop. And I like her voice. She does this really cool thing when she sings Toxic and the vibrato. She reminds me a little bit of Amy Winehouse kind of vibe, but a really cool style to her voice. Should I play something else?
Yeah.
Let's see. Anything standing out?
I'll tell you what stands out to me before I heard anything is the homogeneous brand, the very, very clearly branded presentation. I haven't seen anything this coherent in quite some time, especially for a non-label kind of artist.
Yes.
I mean, this is extraordinary. I mean, you might say, oh, well, that's just her background, but look at the colors.
You're right. Even all
look
of
at
these.
The colors. I mean, Yulia, what do you think about this?
So I'm very much about like all over the place, like in my background. I'm all about mosaic and like all over the place for me as a creative. I think when artists are this is old Instagram where it was like aesthetic was huge because it was a photography app. So for me, I like an artist that has random stuff, that some of his stuff is like overproduced. And then you have like some really underproduced content with a towel on their head. That's what I like where everything, you have a spectrum, where this is to me a little too homogenous. And like I get what they're doing with the content. I would just really vary in a little bit more of your story in your real life, not just music. Like she's got the music series down packed. What I would say is give us more about who you are as a person too. Give us your imperfections, because I think that's what's going to get her to the next level. Especially in the short form video algorithm communities, that's really when it's going to connect her.
I'm trying to find the kitchen.
The grocery store is cool.
See that? I don't know if she's singing, but let's check that out.
Fit those jeans, I'm not trying to fit that dress. Living it in my own skin, got nobody to impress. Look Fresh, not a much up. You don't need a touch up. You don't need a B-size suit to walk it with a flex.
I love the grocery store.
Fisheye, that's what it is. The fish island.
Fun.
The peanut butter aisle. There is one of her in the kitchen. But I like her rhythms. I like the groove. I like her whole style. It's something that stands out. It's different enough to the way she sings and the way she moves and the way she creates her music that I'm like, I would go see her live.
And, you know, obviously the idea of, well, two things. One, grocery store video, great idea. And to do it with one fisheye GoPro that's attached to the end of your cart is such a genius idea, because you don't really have to ask anyone for a filming permit. One. Two, it's just funny because it doesn't make any sense. Three, you don't have to go for super high quality, because the moment that you turn the camera on and it's fisheye, you don't expect high quality. You
True.
buy into this unusual viewport and you just stay there. You've got the audience as soon as you go. And the second thing is look how far one cool background gets you. Everybody. She only really has one main cool background on her Reels page, and she's used it again. And I know that's her studio, and it's not just a gimmick. That's actually probably her living space or similar, but it doesn't harm her.
Room. I mean, I love the fact that she sort of puts this makeshift studio together, which makes another person think, I can do this anywhere. You know, it gives permission, as opposed to when we're watching a Charlie Puth, who's always doing the looping, you know, he's in a giant studio with 1,000 singers. And so the idea is, what I like about this too is it's accessible to an independent artist to say, all I need is a laptop, a microphone, a couple of instruments, and I can start working.
I do think that if you want to do the kind of makeshifty thing, then some good choices about your decoration and your background really go a long way. I'm not saying you have to, and you can't do it without. You can, but it does go quite a long way. Hey, Anika, can you play it one more time, please?
Which
Maybe
one?
that one we were listening to. This
Disconnect, which is cool.
Can we do lower pressure? I can keep it together. I'm talking to you. Do you hear when I call you? Traumatized with your policy, yes. What you done to me, yes. What you done to me, yes. You got me wrapped around his finger, and shit just hit the fan. I understand it in the mirror, baby. You got me wrapped around his finger, and shit just hit the fan. I understand it in the mirror, baby.
Okay, I'm just going to play back from Spotify for a second. Interesting. Okay, so quite different. That's so many things to talk about here. The Spotify version, if it's the same thing, disco necked, right, with a bracket.
Correct.
Okay, so this feels like almost a different composition, and it seems like what she did on Instagram, and I can't wait to ask her about this. It seems like what she did on Instagram is some live loopable version of her own song. So she's covering her own music. Yulia, I have to talk to you about this. What's going on here?
Well, what is your question like about this?
So, I mean, she is piggybacking herself, right? This is a neat trick. I just released a song. Ta-da! Okay, that's not very interesting. I just covered my own song that I released, right?
Got it.
That's a neat trick, because now you're doubling up on your releasing, on your possibilities for exposure, and all of those things, right?
Yeah, I would say that's a great strategy. I think, so for me, I think one song can have multiple videos. So it's just a song by itself with like just no looping. And then you have the song with the looping, which is really cool. And then the explanation, like another video where you explain what's happening. You connect, like kind of like the narrator. See, I wouldn't know that. I didn't know, like even listening, I wouldn't know as just a regular non-musical person, but like being a narrator and saying like, I did this and this is what happened. I looped my own song and let me show you what instruments I'm using. Like taking us on this journey with you also verbally is helpful. So like think of one song as having multiple content streams and multiple content pillars can really help. So now you have unlimited types of content you can make just off one song. That's what I would say.
I have one suggestion for her. I would love to see the lyrics. I would love for there to be a lyrical stream going on, subtitles. I just tend to enjoy that, especially in short forms like that. So I can understand, first of all, what she's saying, because she's a really cool way of singing, but some of the words I'm not getting. And second of all, it's going to make me want to, I don't know. I like that. I like when you're looking at it. The music thing that I keep talking about.
I mean, one of the greatest singers, indisputably, of all time is Michael Jackson. A person who was serially misunderstood lyrically for decades. There are many, many songs went by we had no
idea what he was saying.
No clue. And actually, I think that a lot of Noah's music, her vocal style actually is a callback to Michael Jackson's style. I hear all the percussive stuff that she's doing. And I don't care whether I can understand you personally. And here's why. If you're Bob Dylan and you're telling me story songs and you need me to understand what's going on and there's a narrative flow, then I think it's important that I understand what you're saying. If you are doing vibe music and the music is more about the feeling than anything else, then do whatever sounds cool. It's like an art exhibition. It's like an art installation. Okay. We don't have to understand. She's in this world of like minor sevens. This kind of world is your jazz, funk world. You jazz it. All this stuff is just like, oh, and then my friend's going to play sax, and then we've got a conga person who's going to play. It's this vibe. I'm at an EDM festival. It's kind of got this jam quality. And the fact that she builds it with these loops really, really builds on that. And so I'd rather hear you do something cool. And singers everywhere, boy, sound different. Like if you have the ability to sound like no one else, God bless you. You've got a better chance than anyone else, because anyone who sounds anything like anything we know already is basically boring. I know there's a couple of exceptions to that rule, and feel free to lambast me in the comments, because there's one that I always think of that I will not mention at this moment, which was just straight up a copy paste of one of the most famous bands ever. And I don't think too much of it, but a lot of people do. Aside from those things, right, which are, for me, are flukes, isn't it so much better when people sound unique and interesting?
100%.
Right? Think of the big voices, Madonna or someone, whatever you think of her singing, unique. Adele, unique.
Yes.
Like this is what cuts through. Unique cuts through.
If you don't have the tonality, find a way of singing it differently, like she did that. Because some people aren't born with having necessarily a unique instrument in the voice. So it depends on phrasing as well. Depends on what choices you use as far as rhythm goes. So you and I disagree. I don't always want a lyric, but I think under an Instagram here, under this situation, girls are very much into words. Women are focusing probably more on words than a guy. So I think it would be nice every now and then to see those lyrics. Doesn't have to be the whole time. I can experience it watching her too. But I've gotten so used to hearing and seeing people even talk now. It's become almost like a secondary culture. But if I was just listening to the record in a live performance or in the car or, listening on Spotify or Apple Music, then I don't mind not having the lyrics.
One way, Yulia, I won't take the words out of your mouth. You're probably going to say it. Go ahead. Go right ahead.
I was going to say that the algorithm needs words. You need to tell the algorithm what this video is about, because the caption is not enough. You have to put it on the actual video. There needs to be titles on the video that's telling people what's happening. Even if you hide it, you can hide the words in the corner if you want to be aesthetic, but having words on, the algorithm decides who gets to see this video, not us. We can't decide. It's not, we are delivered the video. That's what I would say.
I wasn't going to say that. I mean, I was going to say create lyrics on the screen, which would be for captions. The challenge here is that when you do a spoken word content thing, like, to camera or whatever it is, or what we're doing here, captions in the AI world now are auto-created wherever you go. Just whatever platform you're on, you're going to get captions on screen and you're living a happy life. The challenge is when you're making music, that's not the case.
That's true.
Some engines can do it. I haven't ever seen them do it particularly well. And the nature of, especially in this style, the nature of singing. And now you find yourself having to make a music lyric video. You have to time it out. Whichever tool you do it in. These, of course, all things that we teach in workshops and things like that, as well as one-on-one. Because the exact right tool minimizing your time spent doing this stuff to get from composition to eyeballs is the critical thing here, right? You cannot spend a week figuring out how am I going to get lyrics on my video. You'll never get anywhere. There's just not enough time. So it's really important. But you know, that might be what she needs here, just to get the lyrics up on screen.
Well, she literally,
in time.
I'm sorry, she literally has on here, guys, if this version gets 500K views, I'm dropping it. So she hasn't recorded it yet.
There you go. So the cover of her own song, she's thinking about making a proper studio production, because one thing that I did here in the snippet we played is that it's what I would call lo-fi. I tend to group music into a couple things, and lo-fi and luxurious are a couple of adjectives I like to use. Lo-fi, more mono and things, so less stereo elements, like more controlled in the center. Normally, because there aren't any stereo elements available, that makes it feel a bit more basic in a way, even though this is a very cool vibe, and you bop your head, you tap your foot, like you understand where the groove is, because she's clearly like a groove mistress of the highest regard. It's not that there isn't a vibe, it's just that it doesn't sound like a $500,000 record. And it's not that everything needs to, but what she's saying here is that if she gets enough interest in this sort of rudimentary version, she would go ahead and consider making this a bigger production, maybe a bit more luxurious. Yulia, why would she throw that out to her viewers?
I would say because she wants them to participate. And this is what we kind of talked about earlier. It's like, give them pieces of a song, even if it's not finished. Like, I think what she wants is participation. I think the caption is you might get shadow banned a little bit if you do captions like that, where you're like, if I get 10,000 likes, I will put it out. Like, that's a little bit, you might get shadow banned for stuff like that. But I understand the purpose, which is I want to share my process with people, and I want them to feel connected to the process, because now you're co-creating, you're co-producing with your fans or with people watching. And that creates a better relationship than just a broadcast relationship where here's a song, go listen to it, and that's it. There's no communication.
May I ask you a question? What is shadow ban?
Shadow banned means that the algorithm will not push your video. So let's say your video has all of the elements that, to go viral, like it has the titles and the captions and the hooks are great and the story's great. But in any part of the video, if you use things like link in bio, or you have in the caption maybe like go to my website, you will get shadow banned, meaning that the algorithm will not push your video. And you're like, why isn't my video being pushed? Well, because there's things inside your caption that you use that you shouldn't be using, because these platforms don't want you to leave. They want you to stay in the platform. They're not like Twitter, where they want you to go to a different website. They want you to stay in their platform.
Very interesting.
They want you to pay to push people out.
So now in Instagram, so say for example, she wants 500,000 views on this song. And I'm going to go back to Andrew about what we were listening to, but in the Spotify, would she be able to do here what we do on TikTok, where you just keep replaying, you keep cutting and editing the song over and over again and putting it in reels in different variations of the song, as opposed to pinning it to the top of your Instagram reels?
Well,
is that different?
I think she's using an old strategy of Instagram, which was followers. Let's get this viral, right? It was like activating your follower base. Instagram is no longer about followers. It's about discovery. It's turning into TikTok. So the algorithm decides who get to see this video. And so she can't ask people that, because people could share the video, but the algorithm ultimately decides if you get 500,000 views or not us.
So you wouldn't cut and edit like you do in TikTok?
I would do that. I would clip my song and post it multiple times. I just wouldn't make it a metric of 500,000 views and I get this.
Right.
It's like, you're the artist. It's your responsibility to get it to 500,000 views, not us. We're, as a creator, as the audience, that's not our responsibility. That's your responsibility. That's what I would say.
Interesting. Well, I think she's really cool. Then what were we listening to on Spotify, Andrew, if you played a disconnect?
Well, that's the name of the track. That's the name of her track on her Spotify.
Okay.
So clearly it's been released in, by the way, go find Noa Bar. We'd love to know what you think. We'd love to know how much you love her music. It's Noa, Noa, B, and her second name, Bar, on Spotify, and I assume all the other platforms. And she has her debut album, which is called Danceable Problems, released in 2025.
Very cool. I'd play that at a party.
There you go. And so clearly we're in the EDM genre here. We're in the EDM vocal crossover genre here. It's got DJ vibes, it's got producer vibes, but I think there's more there. You know, I can't wait to talk to Noa. I think that we're going to hear much more about her and get an insight into her composition process and where it all comes from and where she's headed.
Soul. There's a lot of soul in there, which is what I really like. So that's what adds that really special flavor to the music is their soulful singing.
Exactly.
I like how she's not a specialist, how she's like a generalist where she could do a lot, and seeing that tied together, now you're getting a much more interesting video than just somebody sitting down singing in front of a camera.
Right.
It's true.
Right.
Very cool.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps us up here. A big thank you to Noa Bar for being the featured artist this week. Really think this artist is going places. Hope that we can get you to where you want to go. So come back, give us a like, give us a follow, be here when we are, and let us know anything you want to hear about, stuff you want to learn about. We're here. We will answer your questions if we possibly can. And always read the show notes for upcoming events, courses, whatnot. And thanks for joining us today. I'm Andrew Rea.
I'm Yulia Gonzalez.
And I am Anika Paris.
See you next time.